This is the Certainly Grognards for February 1st, 2016. This is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Eric Carlson. How are you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm doing all right.
So, we got an email from a viewer, from NetDiver, which sort of prompted an idea. We weren't sure how to. We couldn't fully answer the question, but it prompted an idea for us on. Well, it prompted an idea for a full show. So the question was, so I haven't been a big fan of the original run of X Files, or at least before all the show splits, though Millennium had its moments. I was wondering what your guys' thoughts on the new X Files was, and if you were able to watch the recent premiere of the new season. Is it worth getting invested, or let it slide through like all the other unnecessary reboots lately? Case in point, Big Trouble in Little China is being rebooted with The Rock playing Jack Burton apparently, or he's looking to sign for the role. Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. Uh, to answer the actual question, begin things off. I have not watched did not watch the premiere of the new X Files.
Neither have I. It's on my check it out and see what's what list, but I'm probably not going to get to it for a while.
It was not on any of my lists because I'm not a huge X Files fan, to be totally honest. Uh, I kind
Well, you're allowed to be wrong.
I enjoyed the first I enjoyed the first season immensely when it was more of a supernatural thriller show and less a conspiracy show.
Okay.
The conspiracy stuff sort of
That I will absolutely agree that X Files was at its best when it was doing weird ass Monster of the Week stuff.
yeah. I don't get me wrong. I didn't dislike the show. It was a fine show. It just wasn't. I wasn't like super into it. I watched a lot of it because a lot of my friends enjoyed it in college, and so we watched it regularly together. But it
Mm.
wasn't like oh my god, I must watch the X Files. Although I will admit, I after the season one finale, which was a big cliffhanger, uh, I was super excited for season two and enjoyed season two. But as I said, as the conspiracy thing went along, I sort of cared less and less about the show.
Right.
And
The conspiracy was fun. It also happened at a time in my life when I absolutely adored conspiracies even more than I do now.
fair enough. As I said, it was a fine show, but I didn't get it. But anyways, what this got us thinking about was the whole reboots and reimaginings and sequelitis stuff and continuations of old things and so on and so forth. Uh, and NetDiver's right. There have been a ton of them over the past several years. Some
Mm.
better than others. I mean, actually, it's been like the past decade, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been a bit of it, but it's been as productions become more expensive, they people have been hedging things more and more, or studios have been rather.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know. I keep looking at. I mean, the first one that really sort of leaps to mind to me in terms of reboots that is one that Eric and I disagree on pretty vehemently. We've talked about it before. Um,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
trying to think what it is.
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah.
In that you like it and I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
um, it was. It certainly didn't have the sort of the new Battlestar Galactica took the idea and a lot of the same names and such, and went, okay, let's deconstruct this and pull a Dark Knight on it, basically.
yeah, I'd agree with that. I said I was really excited for it when I heard they were doing it because I was like, "Ooh, I loved Battlestar Galactica," and
Yeah.
then it happened, and I was like, "This is not Battlestar Galactica."
See, I heard about it. I was like, Battlestar Galactica was fun. Maybe I'll check it out. Oh, oh, they're pushing all the right buttons for Eric to enjoy this.
I actually overall,
Particularly at the time, because it was all about the grim dark back then.
right. As I said, as I said before when we talked about this, I, for the most part, thought the first season was at least interesting. Uh, I thought there was some really good stuff in there.
Mm.
It was a little, it was a little bleaker than I like, but I thought it was interesting. And then the second season happened, and I realized that I didn't like basically any of the characters. It was kind of rooting for the Cylons to win. And then the Cylons got even stupider, and I realized I just was wishing for the heat death of the universe. Because nobody deserved to survive or win in that universe. They all sucked, they were all awful, they all had to go.
Hey, Colonel Ty was actually kind of awesome. You know,
Kinda.
when he wasn't. I liked Colonel Ty.
I kind of like Starbuck until they got really silly with her.
Yeah, Starbuck was. Here's the problem. Here's the big problem with the Battlestar reboot is about started seeing the stress fractures in second season, and then it started imploding and crawling up its own ass.
Yeah, they also had the problem that I really got the feeling that the writers didn't really have a plan. Like they go on about how the
Yeah,
Cylons have a plan, and they clearly didn't.
yeah, and that was very much the issue. It was yeah, the writers probably did have a plan, and then suddenly realized that they didn't like their plan and tried to change it, and everyone was pulling in other directions, and it just sort of got weird and kind of dumb.
Yeah. Also, all along the Watchtower featured prominently, and I nearly died laughing when that happened.
I like that version of the song.
It's not a bad version of the song, but the fact that they used that, it was a way that the other those particular Cylons realized that they were Cylons. It was like, what, really? Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
Bob freaking Dylan?
Why is Colonel Ty a Cylon? I mean, they never really explained that to the point that I was satisfied. It's like, no, that Colonel Ty is not a fucking Cylon. I'm sorry.
In that they didn't explain it at all?
there's some like bullshit about like the sacred 3 or 8 or whatever the fuck the number of they were, or like expelled out of Cylon space because reasons, and they ended up like brain wiping themselves out. It was 90s comic books convoluted.
It was bad. I, yeah, and on top of that, then they like all the ways they basically would do things like with like, and here's this thing that happens, and this is what happens because science, and then everyone I know who knew anything about science would look at that and go, no,
Yeah,
that's not how that works. No.
yeah.
Oh my god, that show, it caused me pain. It caused
It,
me pain,
like I
Eric.
said, the first 2 seasons are solid. The third season it starts to come apart, and then after that, it's just
Ooh.
yeah, it falls apart.
But
And crawls up its own ass, and wallows in its own contention,
oh god, oh,
desperately hoping you don't realize how much they're screwing up and making shit up
that is
along
a show
the show.
that thought it was far smarter than it was.
Yes.
Oh my god. We're making a point and making things. It's like, yeah, you're not subtle about making your point. Stop hitting me with the hammer of morality, please. Oh dear God. Ow. Ugh. Uh, they've done. There have been a bunch of other sort of, I mean, but I mean, so there's that reboot. That was the first one that I really noticed. That was around the same time, if I remember correctly. That I mean, this has been happening with movies for a while too. I mean, like the Ocean's 11 reboot, reimagining and such,
Yes.
which was amazing because they took a movie that was not very good and made it wildly entertaining.
Yes. And did a fine job of it also.
Yeah, honestly, I do think that it tends to work better when you take something that isn't very good and try to do it better and make it work.
Yeah.
And I can see the argument for saying that's what they tried to do with Battlestar Galactica, because the original Battlestar Galactica is dripping with 70s schlock and cheese. I mean,
It's dripping with 70 schlock and cheese and is clearly just riding that Star Wars dick.
oh my god, yes, it is campy beyond all fuck too. Oh my god, and yet somehow I still actually like it, and they actually had a lot of bits in it that were actually shockingly dark.
Mm.
Um, Also,
Like
Baltar,
the one episode they go to the Pleasure Planet run by the bug people, and
yeah,
they've been eating people.
yeah, that's up there. The way the Cylons actually, take out the the humans for the most part is makes more sense because it's all based on like betrayal and maneuvering and like strategy as opposed to ha 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 we snuck nukes through somehow.
Um, there's more to it than that. I mean, there was a lot of infiltration
Yeah, I that gets my other
there's a
bugaboo.
lot of infiltration. There's a lot of what's the word I'm looking undermining of defenses and such, and cajoling. They like got the skin jobs in there into positions of influence, and yeah, there was a lot of stuff. It was just the nuking was just a knockout punch.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just ugh.
I know you didn't like it. That's fine.
Yeah, I also was at that point remarkably sick of. I was remarkably sick of the whole, you know, infiltrator who could be any of us because they look no different from us, and the enemy within thing.
I gotcha.
It gets tiresome after a while, and they thought they were being smart with it in ways they weren't. Um,
Well, yeah, like I said, the friggin' like Final Five.
yeah, it was
There's
fun.
alliteration involved in there. Sacred Six, Final Five,
Some damn.
Terrible Three. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't care. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that, and also like the other thing it was really clear these are people who really loved Blade Runner and thought they were being really sort of clever and with like taking some ideas from it, and really kind of missed some of the points. Because I mean the Cylons in the reboot were very, I mean they're
They were bad guys.
well, it's not just that. It's not that they're bad. They're very clearly sort of an homage to the whole replicant thing because they're effectively
Yeah.
replicants.
No, they're undetectable by most means. Um, some of them show greater empathy than the humans surrounding them. Boomer comes to mind.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, the whole undetectable thing is one of those things that, like, okay, they're undetectable, except that it's just demonstrated that Boomer can shove computer cables into her arm to interface with the computer. And you can't detect that this is possible. Bullshit.
Well, via
Bullshit.
section you could.
No, 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 not even via vivisection. There is no conceivable way the human Cylons could be not detectable, unless human medical technology is truly pathetic.
Well, to be fair, they did get most of their shit blown the fuck up.
Their spines glow, Eric.
So what? Your plan is just go around fucking everyone and seeing if their spines glow? I like this plan. We should use this plan.
But the fact that that's possible indicates that there's definitely something very different about them biologically. I'm sorry, no, I don't buy this. Unless everybody's idiots, which is actually the case, so fine.
Well, yeah.
Ugh.
Okay, so you don't like Battlestar. I feel like we can't talk about reboots without talking about like the king of reboots, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, the number of times that's been rebooted, dear lord.
Yeah, 10,000 times.
I would talk about it. I'd be more interested. I'd be more able to talk about it if I'd watched many of them.
I've seen
Honestly,
a few. I remember the old 80s cartoon because fuck yeah, I loved that old 80s cartoon when I was growing up.
yeah.
It had a pig monster guy and a rhino guy, and there was a brain that rode around on a friggin' like little lazy Susan, except when he was inside a giant retarded robot. And there were ninjas and robots. This show was awesome when I was growing up.
Oh, sure. The thing was for me, I did enjoy the cartoon. I did, although I thought it was terminally silly because it was.
Yes, it's part of why it
Also,
was awesome.
I had already read the original graphic novels at that point.
Oh yeah, the cartoon's entirely different from the original graphic
Oh
novels.
my god, yes.
Like, what a tremendous reboot that was.
And honestly, kind of for the better in some ways. As much as I love Obar's, is it Obar? Crap, no, it wasn't. Obar's the crow.
Yeah,
Fuck.
I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Crap. Okay.
But yeah, a lot of those changes were for the better, like color coding the bandanas.
Oh, it was Eastman and Laird, of course. Duh.
Right.
Fuck. How did I forget that?
I don't know. Apparently, I did too. So, but yeah, some of the changes were welcome. Color coding the bandanas, changing their personalities to actual archetypes as opposed to
That giving them personalities.
yeah.
Let's be honest. And yeah, they kiddyified it and made it silly and a comedy, but it was still a lot of fun.
Krang was awesome.
Very silly though.
Yes, but awesome.
Oh
But
lordy.
yeah, there's so yeah, you had the '80s cartoon, then you had the live action abortion.
The first movie wasn't a complete disaster.
Oh no, the first movie was great. The second movie was okay. Then
The,
they kept going, and then there was the live action TV show, which was just abysmal.
there was a live action TV show.
Yeah, they had a girl, had a girl turtle who was called Venus or something, and she had psychic powers to make people good. Yeah, it was
Oh my
really
god,
bad.
her name was Venus de Milo.
Yes.
All right, sure. That
I just
apparently
thought it was
happened.
kind of funny that the four guys are named after artists, and the couldn't
The,
have called her Frida,
no, that would have required thinking.
couldn't have called or O'Keefe. I mean, there are female artists you can use, guys. You didn't have to name her after her piece of art.
The worst part about that, and weirdly, is the fact that it's Venus de Milo. You know, it's Venus made by Milo.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not right. I'm forgetting it.
Venus of Milo.
Yeah, Milo is the place. I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I'm my brain's not working at full.
that's okay.
It is. I'm just like, wait, no, that's wrong. My
Yeah, and then there was like the early 2000s ones where they tried to really make them like, grr, we're so badass and extreme, which wasn't good.
I've not watched it,
And then
so
there's the so many fucking reboots. There's the CG cartoon on Nickelodeon, which is actually good, and I should watch more of it.
I've actually heard very good things about it. Honestly, I've just not seen any of it yet.
Yeah, and there's the Michael Bay one. And oh yeah, they had a rock band briefly.
Okay, sure, why not?
You think Star Wars is bad when it comes to friggin' marketing, selling out? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Phooey, yeah, as I said, I really haven't seen any of it out beyond beyond the two original things.
Right.
And the first movie.
Like I said, the first movie's actively good. Like there's real character development. There's a story there. You care about the characters. It's well paced, including moments to like slow down and whatnot. It's actively a good movie. It's stupid and silly, but it's good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I remember how I watched. I didn't see it in the theaters. I think I watched it on video on VHS. Amazingly,
Yep.
with my
Same
brother,
here.
if I remember correctly, my younger brother.
Yeah, I don't
But yeah,
really go to the movies much as a kid. Everything I watched was on video
I
or
used to
TV.
go. I used to go to the movies a lot more than I do now. Honestly,
Right.
it's just gotten so expensive that I'm like,
It really has. Yeah.
But in terms of other things that have like been rebooted, I mean, as I said, Ocean's 11 reboot was. I was floored by that.
Right. The Trek reboot,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
which I really dislike.
I do too. I still
No,
haven't seen.
no, I hate it.
I still haven't seen Into Darkness because I refuse to.
It's terrible. It was really terrible.
Yeah, I.
It's just
It's one of those situations where they again. I think
well,
it's
it's another attempt to take a beloved property and update it. Except they do it. They lose the heart and soul of it entirely.
yeah, that's the big thing is like again there's a, there's a difference between sort of a reboot and a remaking of something, a more
Right.
modernizing of something, and what ends up getting dubbed as reimagining.
Yes. Battlestar
Battle
Galactica
Galactica
was definitely a reimagining.
reimagining because it's completely different, and
Yes.
I don't enjoy, I don't generally I don't enjoy, have not enjoyed a lot of the reimagining things I've seen, but I have a certain level of respect for some of them. Like I actually have some respect for Battlestar Galactica just because they were doing something so different to the point where I'm sort of mildly confused beyond marketing why they decided to call it Battlestar Galactica because it is so different.
It is. I think a lot of that has to do with hanging a lantern on it. Honestly,
Yeah, it is.
it's okay. Let's do a story about space refugees fighting killer robots. That was already a thing. It was called Battlestar Galactica. Well, let's just call it that.
Well, no, the thing is, it's clear at parts that these are people who
Oh, they were fans of it. Clearly,
and they want to do something different with it, which I respect.
yeah.
There's a difference between being a fan of something and wanting to do something different with it, and what Abrams and fuck, I've forgotten the writers' names.
Orky.
Orky
I
did
remember
with.
because he's Sully is the best adjective ever with his vile name.
But yeah, like what they did with Star Trek, which is it's pretty clear that I don't know about Orky, but I mean we it's Abrams has said
Clear
he's not a Star.
Abrams has no love for Star Trek.
He said as much. It not wasn't his thing. It's too philosophical for and to which I say,
But that's the point.
and it doesn't always work. Don't get me wrong. Like Trek, when it's trying to do
Oh,
like
sometimes Trek is fucking terrible when it tries to think too much.
oh yeah,
I mean, it's like fucking. Uh, most of the first season of Next Gen.
yeah.
What was the one? The Planet of the Sexy Joggers.
Oh god, that one and Code of Honor also.
Oh Jesus Christ! What a mess Code of Honor was.
Let's do an episode about like the how racism is bad. Wow, and you made it even more
Let's make
racist.
it really racist. Let's make it as racist as we can.
Guys, I know I know where your heart is, and it's in the right place. But oh god,
Guys, the only things that are even remotely different from the rest of the cast with your aliens is that they're played by black people. You didn't even put like ridges on their heads.
oh no.
And your space Nubians are such evil bastards. Why did you think this was a good idea?
Oh god, why? I'm amazed at how much better
Oh,
Next Gen got.
guys.
It's amazing how much better Next Gen got, honestly.
Yeah. Well, once Gene got pulled off the reins, it got a lot better.
I'm not sure it's necessarily just that, but I think they had time to find their feet too.
Mm.
And again, Next Gen is another example of sort of a continuation of something that was an old thing. It wasn't sort of a reboot per se because they decided not to like take the same characters and do it again.
Right.
They decided to take the idea and move it and do something
They put it
different.
forward.
They moved it forward and did something different with it in the same universe and very clearly sort of it had the same heart and soul.
Yes.
Um, which is one of the reasons I love Next Gen.
Next Gen is great. And has the best Trek episodes.
I definitely agree with that. Best of Both
Like
Worlds Parts 1 and 2 is some of the best Trek out there, period. End of discussion.
not Dying Light. Inner Light.
Oh God, yes.
Fucking Inner Light, dude.
That's a
Chain of Command also. Like, holy shit.
Chain of Command is half a fucking amazing 2-part episode, and the other half is okay or
Yeah.
dumb.
I wouldn't say it's dumb. It's mediocre.
Mm.
But
But
it's elevated by the second half of kick-assery.
but everything involving Patrick Stewart and David Warner is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Those
those
two just
two.
knock it out of the park.
There's
Like, holy
just
shit.
two phenomenal actors in a room just being
Just playing
perfect.
off of one another and just, yeah, everything's a fucking, like, lunar orbit home run.
Oh my God. I mean, I love David Warner. He's amazing. And I mean, there's nothing. What else can you say about Patrick Stewart? I mean,
Yeah.
oh my God. But
Looks
yeah, that's the
like
thing
a
is,
bag of snakes.
but yeah, there have been a ton, like, and the vast number. I mean, get back to sort of the more comic booky stuff. The vast numbers of, I mean, we could talk about, like, DC's constant reboots recently. The New 52, and apparently they're rebooting again
Yeah, yeah.
because New 52 went over about as well as a lead balloon. Went over about as well as a lead balloon.
Yeah, it was New 52. See, I'm not even sure if they're still calling it that or if they're trying to maintain the universe anymore. I simply stopped caring.
I didn't never cared about it, so everything I read about it was like, wow, sounds like there's some okay titles in here, but no.
Yeah.
you know, and I,
And Marvel is doing it too. Like they've canceled the Fantastic Four comic, largely because out of basically being petulant children over not having the Fantastic Four movie rights.
yeah, I kind of understand that, but I kind of don't.
So do I, but I'm like, guys, come on, just keep doing the comic. It's the comic's awesome. You've got Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is God now. You made Doctor Doom God.
Well, he's not anymore, but because Molecule Man fixed everything, which he could have done from the beginning, apparently.
Right. Well,
Because he's Molecule Man.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's the Secret Wars. Doom. Someone manipulates Molecule Man to do something stupid. Everything is stupid for a while. Then he fixes things at the end.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's Secret Wars 1, 2, and the new one.
yeah, pretty much.
What are people? I mean, honestly, thinking about it, what were we expecting from the new Secret Wars stuff?
There was some good stuff in there. I'm going to be honest. I need to wait till it's all collected into like 1 or 2 volumes, and then I'll read it. But I've read a few like random issues, and there was some good stuff in there. All of it involving Doctor Doom. But yeah, and yeah. Speaking of Fantastic Four, you've got the ungood Fantastic Four 1 and 2. I say ungood, but that doesn't do it justice. But everything I've heard is that the newest one is actually worse, which I find difficult to believe.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Except that they managed to make Doctor Doom look even dumber.
Yeah, well, yeah.
How come they can't just let Doctor Doom be Doctor Doom in a movie?
Because that would be silly, apparently.
And what they've done with him before. These.
I got nothing else, man.
Sorry, that's just really funny. Because it's probably exactly their reasoning.
Yeah.
Let's not have a super intelligent, power armored wizard with his own country who would be an actual threat for these people.
But you think you
do that.
The thing is, you sit there and you say that. Say that phrase again, Eric. Say that phrase again. He's a super intelligent inventor wizard who rules his own country.
In powered armor.
Right. You say that, and that does seem silly.
Yes.
The problem is, it's fucking comic books. It's fucking superheroes. Of course it's goddamn silly.
And there's a reason why he's generally considered the best villain in comic books.
I mean, look at the Fantastic Four. You've got a dude who's been turned into a rock band, a hotshot, ladies' man who turns himself into fire and flies, a brilliant scientist who's made of rubber and can stretch, and his girlfriend who's can become invisible and has force fields.
It's probably the most powerful of them all. She's just not all that offensively minded.
And you look at this and you go, okay, that's actually pretty silly too. They got
Yeah.
these powers by flying into space and being bombarded by cosmic radiation. That's fucking silly.
Yes.
All of this is silly. And yet it's awesome. Silly can be awesome.
Seriously, look at Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my
That was
god,
a
yes.
movie no one expected to do anything, and it just ruled the box offices for a year.
It was immensely fun. It was a silly movie.
Yeah, of course it was a silly movie. It had a raccoon with a machine gun, whose best friend was a tree.
Yes. This is all completely fucking absurd. The tree whose only words he can say is "I am Groot" in that order. He can't change the order of "I am Groot." He says "I am Groot" and that's it. And yet he managed to convey things.
And he's possibly the most lovable character in the entire movie.
Oy vey.
I am Groot.
It's just so frustrating. And I mean, that's sort of part and parcel with what Abrams did with Star Trek. Is that a large part of it is that a lot of what he doesn't like about Star Trek is kind of silly because some of the philosophical stuff is silly. But
yeah. Well, the energy being of the weak that pretends it's God.
Yeah, well, yeah, that gets tiresome and silly fairly quickly. But
yeah,
I don't understand how someone who how you can. I mean, Star Trek's had a problem making movies. Period. They've made 3.5 good ones.
Yeah.
Out of the 9, not counting the reboots.
Yeah.
Is it 9? Is it more? Let's see.
So you've got the original series up to 6.
Then Generations. It's 10. They're 10.
Okay.
Because it's Generations, First Contact, Insurrection, and Nemesis.
Yeah. Oh, fucking fuck.
Right. So
that's how I feel about the next gen movies.
Yeah,
the best of them is First Contact, and that is damning with faint praise.
It's the least bad. Generations is awful. First Contact
is a mediocre 2-parter put in the theater.
Yeah. Which makes it better than Insurrection, which is a bad 2-parter put in the theater.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Insurrection.
Insurrection is definitively the worst of the bunch. It's not even close.
It's the one you look at and you start looking at the context of when the movie's supposed to be taking place, and you think, wait a minute, none of this makes any sense. Not that it made sense anyway. As soon as you look at it, it doesn't make any sense. So maybe you peel a little bit deeper. Maybe there's more stuff going on in the subtext. No, it just comes apart in your hand. It's
just bad.
Apart in your hands.
It's just bad.
Like a poorly made blooming onion.
Ugh. Nemesis at least tried to do something. It was dumb and it was bad, but it tried.
Yeah, what it tried to do was do Wrath of Khan again.
Yeah. That's exactly what it tried to do, and it didn't do it well. But, seriously, you look at it okay, Star Trek 1, the motionless picture, was not good.
Yeah.
Wrath of Khan was fantastic.
It really was.
Search for Spock, perfectly fine movie. Serviceable.
It's all right, yeah.
It's a serviceable movie.
It gives us the Burrell Bird of Prey. For that alone, it deserves high praise.
Voyage Home is... that's my...
Star Trek movie.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi comedy.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad it's a perfectly fine sci-fi comedy. It's not really
pretty damn funny a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, it's genuinely funny, and they're trying to be funny. They're
computer.
not.
Hello, computer. Here, use this. Picks up the mouse. Ah, okay. Starts talking into the mouse.
Can you take us to your nuclear vessels?
You telling me that you're from outer space? No. I'm from Iowa. Only work in outer space.
The thing is, it's intentionally a comedy.
Yes.
It's not they were trying to make a serious movie and it was funny by accident. It was a comedy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Star Trek V happened.
Oh, jeez.
And was the worst Star Trek movie until Insurrection. And it might still be. I have a hard time deciding whether it or Insurrection's worse.
Star Trek Five. That really was just Shatner's like ego stroke.
I guess I might have a slight bit of extra preference for five, if only because it has the line, "What does God need with a starship?" in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that
And it
throws
has
the
a
rest of,
Klingon Burrell in it, which
uh,
makes everything at least 5% better.
you know, but that line sort of throws the rest of the movie into sharp relief in how bad it is.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Um, and then
Then you've got six. Six is great. I
six
love
is ama-
six.
six is the second best Star Trek movie. Like,
Absolutely.
it's fantastic. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's well done. It has a point,
Yeah,
and it does sort of the whole sort of philosophical thing. It's looking at sort of Kirk's Kirk's anger with the Klingons is a problem, and it points that out, and Kirk realizes it's a man learns a lesson movie
yeah,
story.
absolutely.
It's like,
Plus,
wait,
I've got the requisite evil admirals and their conspiracy.
well, sure, yeah, fine. And
It's actually
then,
a pretty good conspiracy, honestly,
well, yes, it was actually.
and does a great. It does a great job of doing the whole like fear of the future and fear of change thing
Yes,
with these
absolutely.
enemies that are so terrified of the idea of becoming friends that they'll work together in the interest of staying enemies.
Right.
The cognitive dissonance in there, and it makes perfect sense. But the degree of cognitive dissonance required for these conspirators is mind-boggling and totally believable.
Yes. I, I adore Six. It's wonderful.
I love yeah, it's if it weren't
And
for Wrath of Khan, it would easily be the best.
yeah,
Or
and
Khan is Wrath of Khan.
I was so excited for Generations.
Yeah.
I was
Look at
so
Malcolm
excited.
Dowell. Malcolm McFucking Dowell. He's great. He's awesome.
That
He's
that cast is fantastic because it's the next gen cast who are great.
absolutely.
And
Malcolm Dowell is the villain he is a fucking brilliant villain. He might choose some shit roles, but he's really good at them. Fucking eat
and
tank, girl.
but oh my god, it's bad. It's just a terrible movie.
We have to kill Kirk somehow.
Drop a
Let's
bridge
drop a
on him.
bridge on him.
Okay.
In the original script, he was shot in the back by McDowell, and but people didn't like that because didn't feel like it was a good death for him. It's like no, that makes sense because Kirk's a good man and he thinks he's beaten him, so he turns around to save things, and he's shot in the back because he turns his back on someone that he's beaten who won't accept it. Like even General Chang wouldn't have done that. Even Khan wouldn't have done that.
But it's just oh god.
But it's really mediocre. It brings in the Duras sisters. I like the Duras sisters.
They're good, but
It's just they don't
they don't really feel
they
like they
don't do anything.
no.
They sort of show up in their realm and they go rah rah rah. Look at us. We're being angry girl Klingons with our conspiracy, which has nothing to do with Soren's plan, but we're involved anyway because reasons.
Yeah, they're what, like three or four different like actual stories trying to be told in the movie, and
Yeah,
none of them really get told.
yeah, because they're all fighting for none of them really hook like intermesh terribly well, and they're all competing for the same screen time.
Yeah.
And they blow up the Duras sisters, who are great villains. I
Yeah.
like the
Well.
sisters. They
Yeah.
were awesome.
Uh, and sadly, there was First Contact, which was the final nail in the coffin for the Borg.
Oh yeah. So let's give Data emotions. Okay, let's give the Borg a queen. Why do they need a fucking queen? I'm still not over that.
I, I got nothing.
Let's do time travel because that's always successful in Star Trek.
Oh God.
Let's have them meet Zephyr Cochrane because it's not like Kirk didn't already meet Zephyr Cochrane.
Yeah, and make sure that it doesn't sync up with the way they portrayed him before, because
At all. Yeah. Now, I kind of like the idea of meeting someone from history and having him be entirely different from how the history books portray him. I
Yes,
think
and
it's kind of a cool idea. But
that's
they've
fine.
already met that particular character in this universe, and he's entirely different.
Yeah, just a lot. There are a lot of problems with First Contact.
There are some good stuff in there too,
Yeah.
like Picard's whole psychological breakdown when having to face the Borg again.
Well, yeah, sure. That again,
That was
because
great.
Patrick Stewart's amazing.
Yeah. Um, Worf being a badass spacewalking on the hull of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Um, Worf going, "Fuck you, Borg! I'm crashing the Defiant into you because fuck you." That was great.
Yeah. It's just it wasn't well paced. It was just not good. I hate that movie.
I like it more than you do, but
Not hard.
not hard. Yeah, it's
As I said, I have a real hard time deciding which I dislike more, that or Generations. It's hard for me.
I definitely dislike Generations better.
I totally get why.
It's even worse paced. It's got
Yeah, that's true. It is.
the plot. It kills two of my favorite villains, in a ignoble and understanding way. Kills one of my favorite Starfleet captains in an ignoble way. Um,
It's just bad.
Wastes Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah. Oh God, it completely wastes him. Oh my God, it wastes Malcolm McDowell. Oh God. But yeah. Anyways, we should probably move off Star Trek.
Okay.
We'll be on here forever if we don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like I just like it's really interesting looking at the different sort of ways things are like stories are continue like
Yeah.
franchises or movies or books or whatever are either continued or rebooted, and it's interesting looking at I do find it interesting looking at sort of the successes and failures of them because
Yeah.
and like actually a great example honestly of it's not a reboot or anything like that because it's going from one format one sort of format to another. It's sort of retelling of the story. Is Starship Troopers.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I hated that movie when the first time I saw it.
So did I first time I
Absolutely
saw it.
hated it. Absolutely hated it.
I agree with you entirely. Um,
I'm still not as much a fan of it as you are.
yeah. Well, a few years. A few years difference. The ability to separate it from the book, which I loved, and then being able to realize that it is in fact a critique of the book.
Yeah, yeah.
It's yeah, I actually find I really enjoy that movie now.
I look at it. I think part of it is just it's the sort of sci-fi I don't generally enjoy.
I can get that.
There's just something about it that doesn't quite work for me. It's part of it is I'm sitting there looking at it and going, "Wow, everybody's stupid." That always bothers me.
No, I understand that. That's part of the point, though.
I agree. I know. I get
That's
that.
entirely the
I
point of the movie. Is everyone is dumb in that movie,
I totally get that.
and it's unnecessary for them to be dumb.
But oh my God. But anyways, but I think it's an interesting thing to do. I think they did a really interesting thing with that, even if I'm
Hmm.
not a huge fan of it. But sort of thinking, looking at the sort of reboots that have worked and the ones I've liked, almost all the ones I really like are ones that the people who did the reboot looked at are doing it from a place of they don't want to with the specifically with the reboots and sort of they definitely want to make something. They want to take something that has something they love in it and make it more modern and and clean up some of the things that they have problems with. But they don't want to lose the heart of it.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, what they're remaking is uh, it's coming entirely from a place of love. They like the original source material. They want to do something with that original source material.
I mean,
Like
I honestly like going back to Ocean's 11. It's clear that the writers and the directors, Steven Soderbergh, that they look back at the original Ocean's 11, and despite all its glaring flaws,
Yeah.
there's something in there that they really loved, and they wanted to basically make it work. And sort of at its core, the basic story of Ocean's 11 is at the original. It's the same story, basically. It's a dude getting out of prison, trying to it was a thief trying to get revenge on a corrupt you know a corrupt casino owner by
Yeah.
stealing all his money. It's a good heist movie basic plot. Now, mind you, the original was basically Sinatra and the Rat Pack looking and going, you know what? We should do a movie where we can film the movie entirely in Vegas and just hang out here and just relax.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. They filmed well, how can we do that? Well, it's got to involve a casino because we're in Vegas, right? Making a heist movie because those are always fun. Sure. Rob a casino? Done.
Yeah.
And they did a wonderful job with the remake, and updating it and doing a good job with it. And I love seeing when things like that happen. Like, I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about the fact that we both absolutely adore the 2012 remake of Space Battleship Yamato,
Yeah.
and it's entirely because the people who did it look back at who are
Because they're
clear.
fans, they adored what came before, and they wanted to. Yeah.
And
They wanted to do right by the source material.
right, and the really there's it's sort of different than sort of I guess you can look at like there's a difference between it's sort of like I honestly I find this I'm sort of thinking about comparing to when musicians do covers of songs. And in
Mhm.
general, when they do that, when musicians cover songs, I generally prefer it when they try to do something different with it and put their own sort of stamp on it and not make it exactly the same. They're not trying to do a note perfect cover because at that point, what's the point, right?
Right.
And
Yeah. 'Cause
so,
then you're just doing. Then you're just masturbating, really.
not exactly, but I mean, it's a case of I mean, I, but the recording of that original song is still out there. If you're just doing a straight cover of it, I mean,
Right.
straight note for note perfect cover of it, trying to make it sound as much like the original as possible. Why not just go listen to the original?
Right.
And you have to do that when you're doing a reboot, even if it's something you adore. Because otherwise, again, like if if the people at Zebek decided to do a shot for shot remake of the original Yamato, why would you bother watching the new one if it's exactly the same?
Well, better animation.
The animation is not that bad in the original one. I mean, there's a reason Leiji Matsumoto is a fucking legend.
There is, and the animation isn't that bad in it. But the fact remains that there have been significant technological and
Sure, but again,
and even techniques that
sure.
advances that just make for better animation.
I
It's
get
why you judge animation. You have to you can't divorce it from the time period it was made in.
sure, but again, I'm still not entirely sure why you'd bother.
And I gave you the only good reason: better animation.
But I'm not sure that's enough of a reason. Is my point. I mean,
Sure.
and so what the people at Zebek did is they said, well, what are the things that what can we change without losing the actual sort of what made Yamato great, and they did that. They added a few more characters, they fleshed out a few more, they closed a few plot holes, dropped some of the remarkably silly elements. All I
Our
can say
space
is
bombs are useless.
yes. Also, they at one point attacked the Yamato with something called the Balanosaurus.
Oh right, I forgot about the friggin' space dinosaur.
Yeah, I love Yamato, but
I forgot all about the space dinosaur.
I can't defend.
space dinosaur.
I cannot defend the Bolotosaurus. I'm sorry. I want to defend the Bolotosaurus. I can't.
It's a space dinosaur.
Yeah. But again, they're above us. Our space bombs are useless.
Yeah.
Whew. But yeah, it's one of those situations where I think it worked really well. And there are times when I look at something like, I hear people talk about like remaking something, a classic, and I keep looking at it going, what exactly are you planning on doing with remaking a classic? Like,
There's real serious talk about remaking what's the word I'm looking for? Blade Runner,
yeah,
which is
like
the worst thing that could happen.
there are two movies I look at like specifically that I hear talks about that people talk about remaking, like actually doing a remake, not like going, okay, we're gonna take the basic story and do something slightly different with it, which has been done with the other one I'm thinking of.
Sure.
But and almost never well, by the way. But uh, but specifically Blade Runner and Casablanca.
Mm.
I keep looking at it going, why?
Here's the thing. I can understand wanting to do a movie like Blade Runner,
Sure, I get wanting to use the
even
story.
using the same themes and such. But
Yeah, I get wanting to use the basic story of Casablanca. It's been done a bunch.
yeah,
I mean,
and the big issue is the big problem is why are you remaking this beloved classic? It can't go favorably for you.
right.
I mean, I can think of one remake of a well liked original that was better, and that is Johnny Cash's cover of Closer. And that's because it's Johnny fucking Cash.
Oh no, they're. I'm just looking at movies like the story of Casablanca has been redone a few times, it's been retold a few times, and never
Sure.
really well. The only time I've ever seen it done with a classic story and retelling it in a different sort of and changing things the Magnificent Seven did a great job with that from the Seven Samurai.
310 to Yuma did pretty well, but
Yeah,
the
actually,
original
310
to Yuma wasn't actually very good.
right. But again, that's a case of take something that wasn't great and remake it better.
Yes, and that's something I'm a big fan of. Like,
Sure.
there is merit to this thing. It was just poorly executed. We can remake it better.
But like, seriously, Casablanca? Are you fucking crazy?
Fucking Blade Runner, Gone with the Wind, Citizen Kane. These are not
No,
movies
no,
you make.
please don't don't remake Gone with the Wind for other reasons, please.
Yeah, that too.
Gone with the Wind is not something that Gone with the Wind is not actually that good a movie. I hate to say this.
It is a classic though.
Yes, because it's beautifully shot.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. But oh my god, the story. But Casablanca is an amazing story.
Yeah.
Like, dear God, please, no one remake The Third Man, please.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh my God, just let Orson Welles' tour de force just stay there. I'm not. If you have not seen The Third Man, go watch it. It's amazing. But
yeah,
like, yeah, I keep looking at
Fire. That is a movie that would be great to remake.
Which
It's
one?
got dragons and helicopters.
Oh yeah,
Sounds like tons of fun, but it wasn't a very good movie in any way, shape, or form. But there's merit there. There are both dragons and helicopters.
yeah. But this sort of wraps back to the remake that was sort of mentioned in the email we got, which was they're going to be remaking Big Trouble in Little China. And I'm of two minds about this.
I don't know.
Because
the original will always be there. We can always go back and watch the ridiculous love. That's what it is. Of Big Trouble in Little China.
I mean, yeah, it won't ruin it. The same way that the Star Trek reboot didn't ruin Star Trek. It's just a bad movie I can ignore.
I would say that the Star Trek reboot is a more egregious thing because what it does is, the old Trek is there. It now forces any further Trek to fit into that mold.
I don't think that's necessarily true. It's what's happening, but it's not necessarily the case.
Which is why I'm sad they're making a new Trek series, and it's probably going to be set in the Abrams verse.
Yeah, well,
be set in the set it 10 years after DS9 or Voyager or whatever. That could be awesome.
but at any rate, I where was I going? What was I talking about? Fuck.
I don't know.
Oh right, yes,
Big
the
Trouble in Little
Big Trouble
China.
in Little China. The thing is that objectively, Big Trouble in Little China is not actually a good movie.
By any objective measure, it's true. Big Trouble in Little China is not a good movie.
Like it's not particular. Like
It's not well shot.
it's
The
although
acting
no, it is well shot. I will say this. Yeah, I think that Carpenter did a good job shooting the movie.
Well, it is John Carpenter,
Right,
so he knows what he's
and
doing.
the
But
acting
it's
is
not
not.
particularly good. It's not particularly well shot by his standards.
Oh,
So
I would agree with that. Sure, the acting is not like none of the actors are really trying super hard. But
yeah,
that's because the thing that becomes abundantly clear when you're watching it is everyone is having a gas.
yeah, everyone is fucking enjoying the ever living shit out of that movie.
Because although it is stupid as all fuck, but is immensely fun.
Sure, to achieve immortality and conquer the universe. Exactly. That's great.
You look at this and you go, okay, and it's very clear that the people who wrote this were huge fans of Hong Kong cinema.
Oh, damn straight. Like, it's dripping with it like everywhere.
And it's oh god, it's gorgeous. And but I can understand remaking it because specifically because it was like if you can somehow capture that level of fun and just overt over the top, this is just awesome,
Yeah.
and remove some of the bits that are a little bit more problematic, because there are some bits in there like uh
It's been a while since I've seen it.
it's a
I'm sure
little
they're in there, but I
it's a
can't
little bit
remember.
too much of a damsel in distress story.
Yeah, okay, fair
A
enough.
little bit too much. um that said, the thing I adore about the movie is that the person that you look at first, you think is this is the hero of the story, the big lead, the all
Right.
American white boy trucker. He's the sidekick,
He's the
really,
sidekick. He thinks he's the lead. He thinks he's the fucking hero.
but it's really clear that he's the sidekick in a Hong Kong action movie,
Yes.
and that's awesome. I mean, he beats the bad guy at the end, but through raw, unadulterated luck, which is the best part.
That's kind of one of the things I like about Pacific Rim actually, is the all American white boy action hero is really the side character in the Japanese woman's story.
Right. But I look at that. I'm like, okay, you're gonna remake it, and then I see the Rock's attached to it, Dwayne Johnson, and I'm like, you know, if anyone's
Maybe
gonna pull this off,
it would be The Rock. Yeah.
because he's got the right level of just like, yeah, I'm just gonna have fun with this and charisma. Because if there's not, as much as he's been in a bunch of bad movies, and he's been in a bunch of bad
It's
movies,
been a bunch of bad movies.
he's been in some actually pretty good ones too.
You know what? The Scorpion King movie that he's in is just pure, unadulterated, ridiculous fun swords and sandals.
Sure,
It's a bad movie, but it's a lots of fun.
the
And it's
rundown is
because
actually
of him.
yeah, the rundown is actually pretty good.
Hmm?
The rundown's pretty good.
I haven't seen the rundown.
Really? Oh, that's a
Yeah,
fun movie.
I've heard The Pain and Gain is actually an actively hilarious and good movie.
I've not seen that one.
It's also a Bay movie, so you know.
But like the later Fast and the Furious movies where he's been in it, where they've just completely embraced the fact this is just stupid idiocy
Yes.
and are having fun with it. He's from the bits I've seen of them, he's been a lot of fun in them because it's clear he's just having fun.
Let's do something stupid. I'm getting paid. Let's go crazy.
And the thing is, he can actually act.
Yeah. He's kind of like a modern day Rucker Hauer or Ron Perlman.
Yeah. I would almost like one of the things I would almost love to see, and I don't know if it's actually possible, but it'd be kind of amazing to do a movie starring him and Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
I would love to see the two of them playing off of each other. I don't know if it actually would work.
I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if Jackie would do it as a thing. I think Jackie's quite happy in his sort of
Quasi retirement.
pseudo retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I that's the problem. But like seriously, I mean, those two together would have been fucking amazing. But the thing is, like, I can't decide what I want to think about the about a remake of Big Trouble in Little China with The Rock with Dwayne Johnson until I know who else is attached to it.
Yeah, we need to know who's fucking directing it.
We need to know who's directing it. A, B. I need to know who the other lead is.
Yeah. Maybe it is Jackie Chan.
Jackie's too
He's a
old.
little old up for it,
No,
honestly.
no, he's not a little old. He's too old.
He's a lot of old. But
Like a lot of my favorite martial arts stars are all basically too old for the role now. Is the problem?
yeah. Although, how much fun it would be to time travel and grab Jackie Chan for that?
Jackie might be okay. Honestly, for that role, I think Donnie Yen might be better.
Yeah.
I don't know. At any rate, I just keep looking at that and I keep going. I don't know. I don't know about this. At any rate, we've been going on for about an hour about this, talking about various remakes and such. And I do want to just go reiterate. The
They're not
remakes and
necessarily a bad thing.
no, they're not.
They have a tendency to be bad things.
It's a high degree of difficulty,
Yeah.
especially with things that are
Particularly
actually.
remaking something that is well remembered and beloved, because
Yeah.
you're always going to be measured against the original.
Yeah.
Looking at you, RoboCop.
Yeah. And I do think that they
a lot of the shit that's been coming out lately, honestly.
and they do work best. Reboots do work best when you're trying to when they remember and try to basically try to keep the heart and soul of the original material intact.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and if not that, at least do something interesting with it.
Looking at you, RoboCop.
Oh God.
Art's in the right place there. There's stuff. There's stuff to mine in the RoboCop remake. Illusion of free will, over reliance on drones and combat, blah 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 blah. All sorts of interesting stuff to go there with there. But they don't do any of it well,
That's
or with the kind of like biting satirical humor that the original RoboCop did.
yeah.
That movie is great. I love that movie.
At any rate, I think that's going to do it for this week, though. I really can't think of a way to tie this back into tabletop gaming, so yeah.
Revisiting that old campaign that you guys.
I guess. I don't know. At any rate, that's going to do it for this week. We try to save time at each episode for viewer questions. This entire episode is based off of viewer questions, so um, yeah, we don't really have time to touch any other ones. If you do have questions you'd like us to answer on the show, we try to save time at the end of each episode to answer viewer questions. If you have the questions, email them to us. Our email address is certainly grognards@yahoo.com, SURLYGROGNARDS at yahoo.com. Or you can post them on our forums, which you can find at mechajam.forumer.com. Or if you're listening to us on YouTube, just leave a question in the comments, and I'll be sure to check those out from time to time. Also, if you have feedback for us, constructive criticism, ways we can make the show better, please do let us know. Any of those places is eminently acceptable, and we love getting feedback because we want to make the show.
It's good stuff.
Yep. Lastly, if you've got show topic suggestions, things you want us to talk about, we love those to pieces because it makes our job so much easier.
It really does.
Also, that way we're talking about the things you want to hear us talk about. So let us know, please. Certainly grognards@yahoo.com, forums are mechajam.forumer.com, or just post it on YouTube. We record the show every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern here on hitbox.tv/mecha-gm. I tweet out when the show is going to go live before the show does, so if you want to have a heads up for that, just keep an eye on my Twitter. My Twitter handle is @mechagm. Eric has no Twitter handle, so sorry, guys.
I don't believe in the internet. It's not a real thing.
He says as he's recording a show on the internet.
And is probably going to go play games on the internet.
Eric is a study in contradiction.
Internet's not real. I'm gonna go do stuff on the internet now.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you had fun. See you guys later.
Bye.